Hello creative friends, I'm Anastasia and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm heading to some thrift stores and a thrift mall, and I'm hoping to find decor with a cozy cottage vibe and a vintage flair. I'll even be DIYing some of my finds to give them new life and showing you how I style them around my home. Let's go! While I was out of town for a few days, I decided to do some thrift shopping, and I stopped by this thrift mall, and it's actually got tons of different booths that are rented out by different curators who collect these items and put them in their booth to sell. So there were so many items to look at, and it took my mom and I a while to look through everything, but it was so much fun. This table had so much vintage rustic charm, and I couldn't believe it was only $40 for this solid wood piece. What I liked about shopping here is that since everything has already been curated by the people who rent the booths, you kind of already have a really good selection of items to shop. Although that also means that the prices from booth to booth can vary by a lot. I noticed that some booths had low prices like a regular thrift store, while others had authentic vintage pieces and they charged a lot more for them. These crystal lamps were really pretty, and you can put a candle in the top there. This picnic basket was also super cool, but it was $45, so you can see how some of these items are probably priced close to retail price depending on the booth. This booth had some really pretty stone items like this bud vase, which was $22, and this stone candle holder, which was only $10. As well as this marble candle holder, which was $20, and the tag says it's vintage from the 70s, and that's pretty cool. I could definitely tell that the owner of this booth really put a lot of time into curating these beautiful pieces. I was really hoping this basket was for sale because it was just so beautiful and in perfect condition, but it was part of the display, sadly, otherwise I would have had to bring that piece home. And I must have been on a stroke of luck here because I found this real clay pottery jug for only $5.99. So if you'd like to see how I decorated this gorgeous piece, check out my most recent video of my thrifty bedroom refresh, which I will link in the corner and in the description for you. I've been looking for a cake plate with a lid recently, and this one was so pretty, but I didn't like the seam in the middle of the glass. I'm looking for one that's pretty ornate, and I really loved this one a lot. And now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have got it because it is really beautiful. At the time, I thought the tag said $16.99, but now I think it says $11.99, which makes me more sad that I didn't get this because the detail on it was very stunning. This piece of art was pretty large and was being sold for $50, which is a pretty decent price for a piece of art this size with a nice frame and a matte border. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been to a thrift mall before and what you thought of it, because I had the best time walking around and looking through all of these booths. Now I'm heading into Goodwill, and I immediately find these gorgeous mint green floral dishes for $9.99 for the whole set. I really have to watch myself with dishes like this because I already have a lot and I really don't need any more, but I just love all of these. When you're thrifting, I recommend keeping an eye out for pretty bowls like this one because you can easily set a houseplant inside them to conceal a plastic pot, and it really gives it a more upscale look. Hear me out, but if you replace the mismatched knobs on this, I think this could be a really beautiful piece in someone's home if they have more of a cottage style. It was $50, which is a great price, honestly, for a piece that's this big and also solid wood. I also really liked the curtains on it, and I thought it gave it a sort of dainty look. I love this brown wood frame, and I probably would have gotten it if it weren't for the fact that it was taped together with this other frame that didn't even go with it, and I just really didn't like the other frame, and I'm not sure why they paired them together like this. I wanted to just take a moment here to introduce you to my new friend on YouTube, Ashley. Her channel is Ashley's Cozy House, and if you love my channel, you are sure to love hers as well. She loves talking about home decor and decorating tips using affordable materials and decor. Her home has such a cozy and beautiful cottage style with so many unique elements that are so inspiring for those who want to create a beautiful home. Later in this video, I'll be DIYing a secondhand vase to look like an expensive McGee Co vase, and Ashley is also doing her own version of this dupe over on her channel, so I will link her video in my description so you can check her out after this. Okay guys, we are starting off this thrifting haul very strong with this absolutely beautiful ornate gold frame, which I got for just $8 from the thrift mall. Every single corner of this piece has so much detail, and I was so surprised to see the tag on the back that it was originally from Hobby Lobby for $29.99. And then from Goodwill I found this frame. It's medium size, and I love the textured floral detail of the frame. The antiqued gold color is just gorgeous, and it's a big bonus that the art is actually really pretty as well, and it was only $7.99. A classic and simple wood bowl is just a staple decor item. This one was marked $2.50, but when I checked out, the lady actually said that it seemed too pricey, and she gave it to me for $1. These beautiful florals were at Goodwill, and this entire bundle was just $3.99. It came with 1 sprig of eucalyptus and 3 sprigs of these beautiful white roses. They definitely have a realistic look to them. When I saw this checkered cutting board for $3.50, I instantly saw an amazing DIY project. So stick around till later in the video so you can see how I give this a cozier cottage vibe and make it one of my new favorite pieces of decor. This adorable brass candle holder was definitely an exciting find. It was only $2.99, and I just loved the curved little handle on it, and I thought it had so much vintage charm. I am still not over this little side table that I found at the thrift mall. It has this gorgeous dark green stone top, and the legs are a beautiful darker wood tone with so much detail. Can you believe it was only $10? I'm so excited to style this in my home. While I love this checkered cutting board, I do not love this two-toned light wood, so I'm going to stain it. I'm first going in with this pre-stain wood conditioner, and I'm just applying it with a paper towel. I overall want to make the two colors more cohesive by putting a coat of darker stain on top, which will give the two colors the same tone overall, and it will match my decor style better because I just prefer darker woods. The color I chose is Dark Walnut by Minwax in the semi-transparent finish. And even though I'm putting the same color over the entire board, because the two wood tones in the board are already starting at different levels of darkness, the checkered pattern should still show through the stain. The difference already between the stained side and the unstained side is huge, and I already love the dark color it's becoming. Once that is completely dry, I'm going over it with this polyurethane clear satin top coat, and I'm using a sponge brush to apply it. You can probably see that my stain job is a little bit splotchy in some areas, and I'm really not sure if that's just the way the wood took the stain or if it had something to do with my application technique. This is only about the second time I've stained something, and it's the first time I've actually done the correct staining process of the conditioner and the top coat, so I'm definitely no professional, but once I got this top coat on there, it actually helped even out the splotchiness. Naturally, I'm going to style the cutting board in the kitchen, so I'm putting down this marble tray first with the cutting board then on top of it. I'm layering in some thrifted books as well, and then this thrifted vase with these also thrifted faux hydrangeas, and this is how the area turned out. I really love it. This brass candle holder is so very beautiful, but as you can see, it's got a lot of blue wax built up on it, so I'm going to be using some of this Brasso to clean it up. I thought that the Brasso would take off the wax, but honestly it needed to just be scraped off, so I ended up using a plastic spoon, which worked perfectly to scrape all of it off. The wax left some blue stains in the brass, so that's where I got the Brasso back to work and started scrubbing out those stains. And I had to take this outside because the smell is just so strong, but the Brasso pretty much got all of the stains off. Although I was a little sad to lose a lot of that beautiful patina that it had, but it was so worth it to get those blue stains off. I'm going to style that cute little side table right next to my reading chair with a thrifted linen book on top, as well as this little thrifted vase with some faux florals. And then adding in that beautiful brass candle holder on top. This area is just so quaint and beautiful now. Here's a little surprise piece that you have not seen yet. So this is a vase that I did not thrift, but I got it secondhand from my mother-in-law, who gave it to me so I can give it a new life. My goal is to make it look like this Demetria terracotta vase from McGee Co. This one sells for $98, and y'all know I love a good stone vase, and this one is just a really pretty deep brown color, and I love all the texture that's happening on it, and I think I'll be able to recreate this look. Because the surface of this is pretty glossy, I'm going to give it a quick sand to add a little grit so the paint is more likely to stick. Then I'm taking this light beige color and I'm mixing it with some baking soda. This will also help the paint adhere better to the glossy surface. So I'm going to give it a nice base coat using a sponge brush. Ashley from Ashley's Cozy House will be creating her own lookalike version of this piece, so after you finish this video, I definitely recommend going to check out her video for even more DIY inspiration. It is linked in my description. After one coat, it still needed a bit more coverage, so I did a second coat and it turned out beautiful and gave it a nice, slightly textured base for the rest of the layers we're going to be putting on. Now I'm going in with this patching plaster and I'm just using a glove in my hand to rub this all over the vase. You can be a little bit messy with this. It definitely doesn't have to be perfect. It can be thicker in some areas and thinner in others to give that textured, imperfect look. I'm making sure that I'm not creating perfect lines with it because I really want it to look very organic. I started tapping my hand on it to give it a stippled look, and I really liked the way that was looking. So this is after one coat of that has dried, and I'm going to go over it with a second coat just using that same technique of smearing it on and then tapping my hand around to give it all that texture, and then it's going to have a nice, beautiful, layered look. Something I noticed as I was tapping it was that it was actually pulling off the first layer of plaster and creating this really cool look. So then I started doing that intentionally on random parts of the vase. Then after it dried, I'm so happy with how it turned out. You can definitely stop here and go ahead and paint it the color you want, but I'm going to tone down this texture a bit with some 220 sandpaper and just go over it enough to take away some of the harsh peaks and give it a weathered look overall. This is how it looked after I was completely done sanding. I'm going to be using all of these colors, plus a little bit of black, but I will be mostly using the color brown oxide because that most closely matches the color of the Demetria vase. And then the other colors in there will just be to add some more dimension, so it's not just one flat color. I'm stippling this on the vase randomly with a damp paper towel, and I didn't mix the colors together, so that way I can control how much of each color is being added, and I can add more or less of certain colors in different areas. If I feel that certain colors are too harsh, then I will just go over it a little bit with the brown oxide color to blend it out, and this gave it a lot of depth and dimension. And once the vase was fully covered in that paint, I let it dry and then went back to just look and see if any parts needed to be blended out more, and if they did, then I took more brown oxide and went over it until I was happy with how it looked. Some of the more textured areas were a little bit harder to reach with the paper towel, so I'm just using a cotton swab to paint those smaller spots. And lastly, I'm going to mix a little bit of black and white acrylic paint and water it down, and I'm using a cotton swab to put this on certain parts of the vase, such as where there are larger chunks of texture, because I want there to be a little bit of a dark edge around those areas where they might naturally collect dirt if this was a real pottery vase. I don't want this to be too harsh, so after I dab it on with the cotton swab, I'm going to wipe it off with a paper towel to make it more subtle. Then after that, I did just touch it up with a little more brown oxide to tone down the darker areas. Then once it dried, I'm going in with a clear matte protective spray, which is going to seal it all in. I'm styling it on my dresser and adding in those white roses and eucalyptus sprigs that I thrifted. I'm just so thrilled with how this turned out, so let me know what you think. I hope you guys found some inspiration from today's decorating and DIY projects. If you have a favorite project, let me know in the comments, and if you enjoy this video, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my upcoming content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!